Welcome back to my channel. Today we talk about Africa youthful population. So by 2050, it is projected that Africa will have the world's largest population. Not just population of young people, highest of the world population of young people. So what does that mean? So according to the Human Population Project conducted by the United Nations, that means that one of every three young people living in the world by 2050 will be an African or from African descent. So you can see that this it's not about the statistics, that is projected to have the highest number of youthful population. It also borders around, workforce, the opportunities that the future will present, the innovations and politics, culture generally. What does Africa stand to gain, or the youthful population stands to gain if they are properly prepared to take over by 2050. Today, let's look at why this is a game changer for African youths or Africa in general. Despite African youths' challenges or the struggles, the opportunity that presents itself and why it matters for Africa or the entire world. Numbers don't lie. Right now, over 60% of the people in Africa living in Africa are below the age of 25. That's around 800 million people. That's huge. So compare that to Europe, where the populations are aging so fast, or Japan, where over 40% of the population by 2050 will be above the age of 65. So the youthful population in Africa already, as we speak today, is a very big demographic dividend for Africa already. Talk of 2050, where you have more youths in Africa. So that means a very massive economic growth, massive gain for African countries if the youthful population in Africa, the energy of the youths in Africa is harnessed. But are we seeing that today in Africa? Countries like Nigeria, Ethiopia, and the Democratic Republic of Congo are projected to be among the 10 most populous nations come 2050. So let's look at some of the opportunities present in Africa in technology in this 2025. Trust me, African youths are super connected. 500 million of African youths are connected on the internet, and they don't just scroll. Many of them curate. Look at it this way: from Nigeria to Kenya to South Africa to many parts of Africa, the financial tech companies are making great waves. And these are some of the things that the youths are very fantastic in creating some of these things. So culturally, African youths are doing great things, from Afrobeat to Amapiano to a lot of music beats going on from there. African youths are literally selling or exporting Africa to the world. We see super global stars springing up from Africa, literally exporting African culture to the world. So you can see that Africa has what it takes, Africa has what it takes to build or to stand firm. This means African youths are not passive after all. They are creating solutions through culture and innovations. So by 2050, African youths will surpass both India and China in working age populations. So that means African youths will have a fair share in shaping the global market, what people buy, what people listen to, and innovations. So one could but wonder, does African leaders know all this? Because the world global powers know, You see China investing in African infrastructures, the US scrambling or running for African partnership, tech partnerships, and the EU going for African immigration deals, because they know that whoever that wins African youths wins the future. I doubt if the leaders in Africa know, because considering the bad governance in Africa, the corruption, the bad institution or weak institution that does not support or block progress of the youths, the unemployment, the education gap, migration pressures that has forced millions of youths to try to cross the Mediterranean Sea in search of, pastures across. And that has caused a lot of youths to lose their lives, while trying or embarking on such journeys. These are some of the things the leaders in Africa should look at, because the youths of Africa can be a great blessing to Africa, Therefore, it is important that the governments of African countries should invest in quality, inclusive and vocational skills to help and support these youths. Also creating enabling environments that will support entrepreneurial skills and even tech skills. Government and private sectors should work hand in hand with educational institutions to bridge gap by updating curriculums that will match future job markets like robotics, AI, and even green technologies. Well, if all the stakeholders work together, African youths will be better prepared to take the world and the opportunities that the mid-century will provide or present, So let me know what your thoughts are on this. Please do not forget to subscribe as we discuss topics that concerns Africa and the youths in Africa.